Hey everybody, it's Ben. We are back at E3. This time we are talking about Wolfenstein Youngblood, and with me is...
I'm Jerk Gustafsson. I'm the executive producer at Machine Games.
To get us started with this Youngblood interview, the first question that I want to ask is, with this partnership that you're doing with Arcane, between the two studios, what really drove you guys to make a cooperatively focused game?
I mean, we have been having a pretty good relationship over the years with the Arcane guys, and we have always kept in contact over the years as well. Yeah. So when we got this opportunity to do something together, we wanted to broaden our portfolio and also our experience. So that's also why the VR project, Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, is part of this whole collaboration. Sure. And we have also, at this moment, I feel that we are so comfortable when it comes to the through the gun experience and the shooting. And what we have been doing for so many years. So we have been thinking about for quite some time actually to add another player in there and just see what happens if you actually play with a friend in within that same combat experience. That's what we wanted to achieve and we set out to do. But basically it's a lot of new for us, a lot of new things we're doing, not only for us as Machine Games but also for Arcane, and doing that together has just helped us a lot.
What I really love with what Machine Games has done with Wolfenstein is I am so incredibly invested in the story and the characters, and that's not something that happens too commonly with me in first-person shooters. And with Youngblood, we're set 19 years after the end of New Colossus, and that's a lot of time. Are we going to, in the game, obviously it's focusing on Jess and Soph, but are we going to find out what BJ and Anya and everybody else has been doing in that time period as well?
There will be some information there, yes. I won't go into too many details, but we do have a storyline that we are staying very true to and follow very strictly to make sure that we are respecting the Wolfenstein lore, of course. But the fact that this game is set in the 1980s is more of something that is a consequence of the decision we took very early on to use Anya and BJ's twin daughters as the protagonists of the game. And as soon as we made that decision, it automatically placed us in 1980s, as we wanted to tell a story about this, this growing up part and this transition between adolescence and adulthood. So having them at 18 years old made sense, and then it ended up in the 1980s. And of course, we tried to embrace that with everything from small references to 80s in terms of art and collectibles, etc., but also very much so with the music. So it's something that actually happened as a consequence of the decision to go co-op.
Sure. And focusing on these sisters, these young girls, is it difficult? I guess especially going from somebody like BJ who has seen a lot of war and is a little bit older, is it difficult writing these characters that are growing up? Is it hard getting in that headspace, I guess?
I mean, to some extent, yes, but we have been extremely character focused for so many years, and also in terms of narrative. It's been very, I think it's actually been very exciting and interesting for us for once, for the very first time also to have female protagonists. Yeah. We have been working, for 20 years now, ever since we did Riddick back in the Starbase days and Darkness with these male heroes and anti-heroes. So this is a very fresh new thing for us. It's and the excitement of doing that also, of course, helps us when it comes to the character development. So I'm very happy we took that step, and I can understand that some fans and some might wonder why do you do a Wolfenstein without BJ Blazkowicz, but in a way you of course you still play a Blazkowicz, but it's the twin daughters, so you still have that Blazkowicz blood in there, which I think is great.
Having played the demo for Youngblood, I really love the opening scene because you get to see the relationship between Jess and Soph and their parents, and they're both training them, and they're showing them how to survive in this world, which is really, really cool. But beyond that, these these sisters haven't actually fought in real combat before, which I can imagine would be like a pretty frightening and traumatic experience. Is that lack of experience with actual war going to kind of play into how they develop and how they grow throughout the storyline?
It's part of it, absolutely, and like you say, I mean, after the New Colossus and BJ ignited the second American Revolution, and that started the whole process of pushing the Nazis out of America. But BJ and Anya, they settled down in Mesquite, Texas. They raised their daughters, and that's also a part of why this story is a little bit lighter in the tone, because this story is built from love. You know, you raise your daughters there, and it's a very big contrast if you compare it to New Colossus, when BJ and the backstory there, when BJ was brought up by his parents and his abusive father. So it's and the whole story is about, you know, the sisters taking off to Paris, trying to find their father. So it's very much built from love. So it's very different in that sense. Absolutely, yes.
Shifting over into kind of the structure of Youngblood, you guys have gone out there and said that this will be less linear, more open, more freedom with it, and at some point you're going to kind of get access to a hub, and my understanding is that once you get access to this hub, you're going to be able to pick from a variety of missions. How much freedom, I guess, is the question. How many missions will you be able to pick from at any given time, and how will progress through the story work?
So how it works that after that demo you played, which also includes that first kill, taking the sisters over that threshold to actually, get into real combat for the first time of their life. Yeah. Then you play through the two first levels, and then you get to the hub, which is the French resistance quarter in Paris, and from there, then we open up, so you can take on which mission you want. You can do it in any order you want to. Of course, there are some gating involved in this. There are some missions that are not unlocked until other missions have been completed. There are some missions that are unlocked based on what level you have as a character. But whatever is available at the moment, you are free to do in any order you want.
I guess, can you go into when you can select that order, like how many paths you would have?
In what sense you mean? In terms of path within that mission, or?
Right, where you say like, hey, you have all these different things, and you have the freedom to tackle it in any order you want. Is it like, okay, I have 3 missions and I can do them in any order I want, or is it like I have 15 missions that I can tackle and I can do it in any order I want?
That is also a little bit dependent on what level you're at.
I see.
But at many times there will be multiple missions that you can select from. Absolutely. And we also have you also have the opportunity to perform certain activities. You have the opportunity to do challenges as well, and of course also to replay missions that you have played previously.
I like that these sisters, you're really emphasizing, this bond that they have, but also how different they are from each other, and you can build out the sisters differently in terms of skills and abilities. And one of the ways that you can build them is through stealth, which I thought was really interesting. But then I thought just kind of sometimes you're playing with a buddy and it's like, okay, I want to sneak in. I want to take care of this very methodically. And they're like, nope. And they just kind of come bumbling in and charging in. And maybe they're very stubborn about that. Does that mean, like, if you're playing with somebody like that, or you just have very different play styles as players, that it kind of maybe hurts the decisions you make at all? Like if you have somebody like that, is stealth still going to be valuable?
To be honest, not really.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be valuable, of course, if you decide to do that together. But if someone breaks stealth, yes, then that is broken. Gotcha. That's the way it works. Sure. So you have to rely a lot on your partner in that sense. The playing solo, though, it's a little bit easier in that sense, because then the AI companion will adapt to your playstyle.
So you really do have to communicate and try to get on the same page. Yep. Yes. And so another co-op mechanic that you guys have that I think is just A, like really charming, and B, useful, is you have these pet powers. And so one of the sisters can give the heavy metal devil horns and you get extra armor, and then the other one can do a thumbs up and you get extra health. And I like that, and it's a nice bonus. But is that something where maybe later on in the game it just gets more and more difficult, where you really actually need to coordinate those bonuses? Like, do they become absolutely vital, or is that mostly dependent maybe on the difficulty setting that you're playing on?
A little bit, I would say, but I would encourage players to use them throughout the game, because they are. We have tried to be honest. In the beginning, we just let's do some emotes and have some cool, animations that you can do, right? But then I thought it would be very good to actually have some gameplay purpose to that, because we were also striving in the beginning to find ways to be able to play just a regular combat loop together, and the pep signal is a very big part of that. And of course you will also have different, it's not only the health and armor, you will have different that you can unlock over time. Okay. So there might be that you are invulnerable for 5 seconds or 10 seconds, so that's a pep signal you can give as well. We also have a valuable pep signals that you can revive your sister from distance. So whatever you decide to have equipped will of course affect that specifically moment then in combat. So they are extremely valuable to use, and I really like them a lot. I also think they are very charming. And
yes. Yeah, they are. It's just a great little way to kind of define the personalities of these characters, which is awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. My last question is, when is the release of Wolfenstein Youngblood, and what platforms is it coming out on?
It's very close now. It's actually releasing on July 26th. And it's also released during QuakeCon, which is great, since this is also a very classic id Software IP, of course. So I'm very happy about it, and we are releasing on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch as well, and of course also on PC.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.